Good afternoon and welcome to the somewhat delayed sunset safari. And before we get into the nitty-gritty of who we are and where we are and what we're doing, I would just like to offer my sincerest apologies for the delayed start. We seem to have had some kind of problem with one of our repeaters, which made life very tricky and caused chaos throughout the various departments. However, we are back up and running. Whatever gremlin attack happened at the repeater has appeared to have been defeated, and we are taking you once again on a live safari out here in the middle of the African bush on Djuma, Arathusa and Cheetah Plains Game Reserves in the Sabi Sand in the Greater Kruger National Park of South Africa on this gloriously strange winter's afternoon. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon I have Dave on camera with me, and we're heading out along with James, the fantastic and wonderful Mr. James Hendry. He will be on Rusty, along with Brian. Brian's on camera with James. It took me a second for me to remember there. And that's James is on Wendy, yes. And we have the lovely Kirsty and Jerry in final control. And don't forget, not only are we live, we are also interactive, which means you can send through questions on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or email through to questions@wildearth.tv. And I said it's a strange winter's afternoon. The weather's been most peculiar. Can't quite decide if it's hot or cold or somewhere in between. And it's been very peculiar weather, sometimes gusty. There's obviously a cold front zooming in from the southwestern parts of our country, so we have them to thank for our strange weather. Now, this morning on the sunrise safari, I was following a male lion in this block off to my right. He gave me the slip. He gave me the slip along with just giving me the briefest glimpse of what looked like a lioness with him, somewhere hidden in the vegetation here. And I have returned to the spot to see if maybe they haven't moved, maybe due to maybe wanting to find a little bit of shade, maybe just moving because it hasn't been too warm today. They're not feeling like their typical lazy lion approach to the day is the way forward. It's 20 degrees, which is 70 in Fahrenheit. Not so bad at all. It just depends on whether or not the wind is blowing. But our lions do not appear to have come out onto this road. I think they went and lay down somewhere in here. We saw them but for the briefest of moments. And I'm reversing backwards for a log. It is a log, not a lion. Here's a bundle of leaves with a log underneath it. Right, well, while I look for an actual lion and not an imaginary one, let's go over to Mr. Hendry so that he can say hello to you all.
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome on our silly Sunday safari afternoon. I hope you are all in fine fettle, wherever you happen to find yourself in the world. I am sitting with my friend Brian Joubert, who has got a what thumb?
An ice cream cone.
An ice cream cone thumb, obviously. And but it is a Sunday. And behind us, of course, a very ominous grey sky is moving gently from the southeast towards the northwest. And in case you didn't know who this imbecile talking to you is, my name is James Hendry, and you are on a live safari, as Jamie has already told you, and that means we would very much like to talk to you. Hashtag Safari Live if you're on Twitter, questions@wildearth.tv if you'd like to talk to us on the email. That was a fly that arrested my attention, crawling across the top of my brown peaked cap. Now, our plan was to come into this area. We're in the southeastern corner of Djuma, and we're trying to see if we can find Karula. She was around here this morning. Somebody saw her coming this way, but we don't know where she was with the cubs. And in case you didn't watch yesterday, I'm not sure what kind of possible dreadfulness would have happened to you that you missed yesterday's safari, but on the off chance that you did, or that you're a new viewer. Karula, our 12-year-old female leopard, the queen of Juma, killed an adult male impala just south of our boundary yesterday. The cubs were there with her, and this morning it looked like that big impala had been dragged off, stolen by pilfering hyenas. They were not seen, but they were very obvious tracks. Her tracks then came north into this block sort of behind us here, and so we're hoping we might pick her up during the course of the day. Another fly. Okay, everyone, it's a sort of strange day, strange weather. It's 20 degrees Celsius, so it's not cold at all, but it is, and that's 70 Fahrenheit, but it does feel kind of ominous, doesn't it, Brian? Yes, that cloud is deeply ominous. Yes. So ominous. So as this ominous cloud makes its ominous way across the sky, we're going to go down, turn to the south, and we'll see if we can't pick some tracks up. Otherwise, we'll see what else we can find. So far, I'm sorry we are late. I'm sure Jamie did apologize on behalf of all of us. Not sure what the problem was, but we have seen some impala, some waterbucks, some good birds so far, so prospects for the afternoon are good. Naturally, now that you're live with us, of course, we will be staring only at the leaves rustling in this rather stiff southeasterly breeze. We're now on the far eastern boundary of Juma, and we have to keep telling you where we are, of course, because for those of you who are new viewers, it can be a little confusing. We say names like Juma and Cheetah Plains and Arathusa, and those are the three properties on which we operate, about 6,500 acres that we use, and they're on sort of a, well, Juma's here, Arathusa off to the west, Cheetah Plains quite a long way off to the east that way. And then they are part of the Sabi Sand, which is a collection of private game reserves here on the western fringes of the Kruger National Park. And all in all, they're part of the Greater Limpopo Transfrontier Park, which is 8.5 million acres of land. That's 3.5 million hectares of untrammeled wildlife land. So there are no fences between us and the very far eastern section, which is in Mozambique, the northern section inside Zimbabwe, and then the western fence, which is just outside the Sabi Sands. Brian, there's a squirrel up ahead. Let us ease slowly towards it so that it does not take fright. And it's in that tree, everyone. I rather thought Wendy would roll a bit further than she has. You see it there, Brian? Oh, there it goes. It's gone across the road. It's hurtling across. Beastly little Sunday squirrel. That is the African tree squirrel, everybody, and many people don't know this, but a squirrel is a rodent. So part of the order Rodentia, an order all on its own that contains obviously things like the common rat, all the mice, and all the gerbils and the hamsters and the other cute things you got in there. Brian says he's got him. Back a bit. No, there he runs. Oh. No, he knows we can see him. There he goes. He's there somewhere, everybody. I think we should spend the whole afternoon with the squirrel, don't you, Brian? Wonderful. Amazingly fast. They have to be, of course, because everything likes to eat them. From genets to civets to leopards, especially young ones like George and Charlotte, to eagle owls, eagles, battaliers, goshawks. They'll all eat a squirrel if they can get one. Now, what I can hear while Brian's looking at the squirrel there is some fairly distressed sounding white crested helmet shrikes. They're going just off to the left of us. I can't see them, but chances are that they might be alarming at a predator. So let's just go a little bit forward and see if we can't spot what is causing their consternation. Jennifer, you are very pleased that we found a squirrel. You say you love squirrels. Well, I'm very glad. We love squirrels too, don't we, Brian? Have you ever done a squirrel thumb before?
I haven't actually.
No, there we are then. Maybe a Monday squirrel thumb tomorrow. So what we'll do now is go down this old track that leads to an old hyena den, and we'll see if we can't pick up tracks of the Queen. I suspect quite strongly that she's to the south of us. Let's go back across to Jamie. She has a bird to show you.
I do have a bird to show you, and I was alerted to the presence of this particular bird, in this case these particular birds, although they're making life very difficult by remaining hidden, by the frantic alarm calls of the grey go-away birds, all going quack, quack. Oh, there you go. There was one there. And what a stunning view of a pair of my absolute favourite, one of my top 5 at least, African birds of prey. We're looking at a pair of African hawk eagles, and you always see them together in these couples, and the reason that the go-away birds are alarm calling in response to them is because they are, of course, specialised bird hunters, targeting things like guinea fowl and francolin. And just imagine how windy it must be up there. You can actually see it. Well, hawk eagles are typically very stable flyers, but you can see the tail working furiously. Well done, Dave. Working furiously to help to maintain that level. Oh, wow. That is absolutely stunning, and made even more dramatic by the incredible clouds that James has been talking about, that ominous sky. They're now completely beyond the range of the camera. They are hiding right above our heads, circling madly. Excuse me, could you go that way? Could you go that way? I can see them. Dave can't, though. I mean, they're so much above us that we run the risk of a surprise present from... Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. The microphone's gone, the cap's gone. This is where my microphone lives, everybody. That's why you're hearing funny noises. The wind is howling. There we go. Sorry about that, everybody. My apologies. I got so distracted by the African hawk eagles that I forgot about the cap on my head. Oh, really very interesting sighting. They're definitely two of the coolest of the birds of prey. There's a pair of them that nests on Central Road, and that's probably these two here. They are territorial. And it's around, where are we? We're in July. Yes, we're in July. They should be breeding very, very soon. Between sort of July, August, September is when the African hawk eagles lay their eggs. They will be preparing for this year's brood. And I don't think the ones on Central Road actually managed to successfully raise a chick this year. We checked up on them regularly, and they didn't appear to have any luck. Right, for once, I'm not driving down Gowrie Cutline. Gowrie Cutline has been the road that's presented me with the most lion luck over the last few days. However, he was on Gowrie Cutline when I found him this morning, and he was moving to the west. Now, we've done a full circuit of that particular area, and no signs so far of our... I think it was a mating pair of lions, or at least a courting pair, or maybe just an eager Birmingham boy attempting to court a Nkuhuma lioness. Lots of tracks this morning up and down, so it wasn't just these two in the area. There were others around and about. But let's go and check Sydney's dam. Why not? I mean, I don't think anybody checked there this morning, so we'll head across in that direction. And then what we can do from there, of course, is we can head through to Arathusa and see if we can't relocate Shadow. And Brent had Shadow this morning on the sunrise safari, furiously hunting a duiker. Not furiously, she wasn't angry. She was actively hunting a duiker, and she was unsuccessful. However, I think it's worth going to pay another look. I'm sure that Dave wouldn't mind another shadow and cub sighting. Dave says not at all. I think that probably was one of the most incredible, even though it was a brief sighting, it was one of the most incredible leopard cub sightings I've ever seen. A little leopard cub with a monkey head in its mouth, hissing at Mom to tell her to go away and leave her to her snack, despite the fact that poor Mom actually provided it. So we'll go search for a leopard and cub, maybe some lions on the way. Who knows where the day will take us. And then, because Kirsty requested it especially, a trip to the hyena den. So while we cross over to Sydney's dam, let's go and get an update from James.
Straight in front of us. There's a monkey, everybody. And we've come to where Karula killed her impala yesterday. But alas and alack, if there's a monkey there sitting silently and contentedly in the top of the tree, not shouting its lungs out, we can be fairly sure that the leopard is not too close by. Now that is the vervet monkey, of course, not the velvet monkey, as many who are uninitiated call it. Vervet, I'm not sure what vervet means or what the etymology of that word is, but that is a vervet monkey. And you know, South Africa, although being a very diverse country, actually has very few primates compared with other sort of Central African parts of the world. Oh, there's a car coming along here doing roughly 380 kilometers an hour. What do you think, Brian, about Mach 3?
At least.
It's the speed of the blackbird. Yes, so lots and lots of different monkeys and lorises and galligos and all those sorts of things that you find around Africa. But we only find the vervet monkey, the baboon, and of course the Simango monkey in South Africa from this particular family. We're going to have to get out of the way, I'm afraid, because this fellow coming past us is wanting to get by. He's not very polite. Anyway, let me move out of the way so that he may head past. That was our monkey sighting. Not that, of course, I mean that. Now, they're all south of the reserve, exactly where the kill happened yesterday. And like I say, they're all looking very chilled out and comfortable with life. So let's head down further here. We'll go down to the valley of the Great Mulwati drainage and see if we don't find some tracks there. I'm hoping Jamie will find those lions. Ooh, Brian, there's another monkey up there. Let me get a little bit closer. Hang on a sec. You see it there? It's tiny. A tiny monkey. That's a very small baby, everyone. Hello, James Richard. Good afternoon to you. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday, wherever you happen to find yourself. You say, if two troops of monkeys came across each other, would there be conflict or would it be peaceful? James, I think you'd find it be relatively peaceful to start with, as long as they didn't start incurring on each other. They're not strictly territorial, but the troops do tend to keep to a sort of specific home range. They don't necessarily defend, but that they will stay within. And the males may well have some conflict between them, but otherwise I don't think it would be vicious, but I don't think it would exactly be like old friends meeting in the pub, if you know what I mean. That's a very little one, and I suspect looking for little buds. Marula tree buds, perhaps the odd leaf or something like that. I'm just going to have a look with the binoculars and see if I can see exactly what it's eating. Perfectly coloured against the grey sky, isn't it there? And Abhishek, you thought only baboons lived in Africa. No, Abhishek, many different kinds and different kinds of baboons. I will just quickly show you a picture. Well, I'll just show you how many primates there are in Africa. Many, of course. Starting, of course, with the great gorillas. 3 different types of gorilla that we have. There they are. The gorillas, the chimpanzees, the colobus monkeys, many of them, different kinds of colobus monkeys, mostly Central Africa and West and East Africa in a broad band either side of the equator. Those are all the colobus monkeys. Then look at all these baboons. These are all baboons. We only get one species of baboon here in South Africa, the Chacma baboon. The other baboons all over the place, and look at these tremendous things, these mandrills. And they're found in various parts of West and Eastern Africa as well. Especially this, look at this fellow. I mean, he's terrifying. He's called a Galladia, and you find him in Ethiopia. Would like to be kissed by him, would you, Brian? No, it'd be very unpleasant indeed. And then whole cheek-pouched monkeys, golden-bellied mangabees, and then we get eventually to our the Cercopithiids and our monkeys, the vervet and the samango. And then all these are all monkeys you find in Africa. Pages and pages and pages of primates, most of which I haven't seen. And that's before we get to the bush babies and the Leopards and all those sorts of things. So lots of primates, but very few in South Africa. Goodbye, monkey. Look after yourself. Leopards be in this place. Ah, Marianne, I think you're probably right. You say vervet. Isn't it a word referencing green? Because certainly there is a member of the Cercopithiid family called the green monkey. It could well be referencing green. Yeah, let's go with that for now. Thank you, Marianne. But it's certainly not velvet, although they are quite velvety. So we're on our southern boundary, and just to reiterate for those of you who don't know, we cannot go to the left-hand side of your screen. The animals can come and go as they please, but we are not allowed to do that. So Brian is visually trespassing there. Well done, Brian. No one's caught you. Yes, you do what you can. You did very well. And to the right of us is where we're allowed to go. Oh, and Kathy, you say, what happens if we stray outside the boundary? Well, while we look at those arrow-marked babblers, you see them there? A nice troop of them. Oh, and Brian, look what's coming this way, on the ground, just in front of the tree there. Yeah, no, there's a squirrel. Another squirrel. If you... Yeah, if you just zoom in there on the pile of sticks to the right, and down there. Well done. 2 squirrels, everybody. Today is Squirrel Sunday. Boom. That's marvelous. They are so fast. It's unbelievable. You may be able to hear the babblers there going. Probably because there's another flock of them around here somewhere. See some tracks of vehicles going off-road here. Not sure how fresh they are, but let's just keep an eye around. Perchance there has been a leopard in this area during the course of the day. On we go. We'll just keep an eye out. I don't see any tracks. All right, while we keep surveying this area, let's go across to Jamie and find out what she's got to tell you about those lions.
Well, the thing I can tell you about the lions is that they're not here. As to where they are remains anybody's guess at this point. While you were with James, I spotted at least 2 more lion logs, and I'm going to stop specifically looking for lions because I'm going to start seeing, I am already seeing them absolutely everywhere. It is just one of those things that if you sort of focus your brain too much on looking for one particular animal, you're going to find yourself in trouble because you're going to start seeing it everywhere. And everybody falls into that trap. I remember distinctly as a little kid going to visit the Kruger National Park with my parents and constantly telling them to stop and go back because it took me a very, very long time to see my first leopard in the Kruger National Park. A really long time. Or my first wild leopard ever. And I was convinced as a kid many times that the log that my parents had finally said, no, we're not going back to look at, it was going to be that one time that we missed out on seeing a leopard. Of course it wasn't. It was just me seeing logs and focusing too much on finding one particular animal. So instead we shall look for squirrels. Yes, squirrels on this Squirrel Sunday. And vividly remember being taught the German word for squirrels, which I think is Eichhörnchen. So all our German viewers out here, I'm sorry if I've mangled that word, but it came about because I was teasing one of our volunteers for not being able to say the word squirrel, at which point she then told me it in German and had to teach it to me very slowly several times. before I mastered saying Eichhörnchen. I don't think I've mastered it yet. We've done a quick loop, just because I am frustrated, not with the lack of lions, but without knowing exactly where they went. It's the fact that we saw them today, and then they just vanished into mid-air, into one of those portals that we were talking about yesterday on the sunrise safari. The animals have little secret wormholes that they know where they are and we don't, and they step into them and then suddenly reappear on the other side of the reserve. There's a special magic there. I haven't crossed here. They must still be there. Probably just 100 meters into the block, lying down, watching us or listening to us drive past time and time again and having a quiet chuckle to themselves. All right. Now, these clouds are ominous, but they are also beautiful. I'm going to see if I can't find us a nice view of them, perhaps just a little way along. At the edge of this crest, we might have a nice view. And hello to HK, and good afternoon to you on this special sunset safari on a Sunday afternoon. Any news of the Styx cubs or the Styx females? Well, I'm not sure whether you saw it, HK, but one of the wonderful guides at Nkoro, Shanae, actually posted a video up on Facebook of all 8, and we can confirm there's definitely 8 Styx cubs playing about with the rest of the Styx pride. It seems as though one female doesn't have suckle marks, so she looked very pregnant when I last saw her. It's been a long time since I had a proper sighting of the Styx cubs. It looks as though maybe she didn't have them, or she lost them at some point. But 8 little Styx cubs, I'm not entirely sure where they are at present. I don't think that they were found this morning, but I'll keep you updated. I am planning a trip to Arethusa at some point this afternoon, at which point we'll be able to get a bit more of an update, because those, I know James is talking about boundaries, those are the guides that generally get more time spent with the Styx females, the Styx pride. Here's a lovely young male kudu. And almost invariably when you see one kudu, there's going to be several hiding away. Hello, boy. Let me have a look at you. Oh, goodness. Endless trees. Not the best view ever. But there is a male kudu hiding behind the tree there. He's going to walk out. There's a female at the back, those of you who are eagle-eyed. Oh, there we go. Thank you, boy. Putting his head in exactly the right place, munching away on an acacia tree with its long white thorns immediately. It's alright. Immediately what tells us it's an acacia tree. And all of the animals, like our male kudu, and I actually have a sense of deja vu, because I'm relatively certain this is the same kudu that I saw last time I said this, but all of our animals are a little bit nervous in this windy weather. You can see he's not comfortable. He'd rather be hidden away behind the trees. And very clearly young. He hasn't got those enormous spiraling horns of an adult male kudu. He's probably about, I would guess, at a year and maybe a year and a half. We're right up close to Sydney's Dam, so let's go and investigate what's happening there. Perhaps some elephants have decided to come and have a drink. Another thing we're going to be discussing on Fireside Chat is the extraordinary elephant sighting that Jeandre and myself experienced this morning, along with all of the viewers who were watching our sunrise safari. Now, that's something that you can all look forward to at the end of our sunset safari. How's this view, Dave? Let me try get our antenna out of the way. Just have a look at this amazing looking sky. It is really, truly extraordinary looking. A sky of transition. The start of I assume the start of a cold front. It certainly feels that way. and perhaps even, now that I've done my checks, made sure that my rain covers are here, perhaps even the odd drop of rain. Because, Monty, yes, it does rain in our dry season, every now and again, but a negligible amount. So if it does rain, it's usually less than about 5 mils, and it really is, it's not of much use, except maybe filling up the dams a little bit, but even then, it is a hugely negligible amount. That's Manuletti, by the way, that you're looking across at the moment. Manuletti, of course, being the reserve that falls to the north of the Sabi Sands. Motaz, who is one of our new viewers, welcome on this extraordinary live safari experience. Hopefully we have many wonderful things to show you, including this beautiful view. Yes, it is winter here. So we're in South Africa, very close to the famous Kruger National Park. We're actually part of the greater Kruger National Park, and it is midwinter. It is very much midwinter, and it certainly feels like midwinter at the moment. Lowveld, of course, we moan a little bit about how cold it is, and it is a bit chilly when you're traveling about in an open vehicle, but it's actually really not that cold. We generally hardly ever go below about 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 centigrade, depending on where you are from, Motaz. But welcome. I hope you become as addicted as we all are to our safari experience. There's a slightly older kudu standing in front of us. Just goes to show, sometimes it's worth stopping and having a look around you, because you never know what the bush is hiding, what secrets the bush is hiding. In this case, a little bit older than the male we stopped to look at beforehand. You can see his horns have spiraled up. He's got 2 twills. Still not fully grown though, but a little bit more impressive. Instead of browsing, he's currently ruminating, so bringing up balls of cud and chewing them once again to aid his digestive process. And if you're really looking carefully, you might even have seen that bolus come up due to reverse peristalsis along his neck. Just watch him here. Chew, 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 and now swallow. Oh, not yet. Sorry, boy, I don't mean to rush you. Chew for as long as you want. Okay. This apparently needs some serious concentration. So while we wait for him to swallow, just an interesting thing about the brainwaves of ruminants. When they're doing this process of ruminating, their brainwaves imitate, oh, there he swallowed. Perhaps the presence of the female has distracted him from his ruminations. Oh, 2 females. See? Just goes to show. He turned his head away to bring that bolus up, to bring up that ball of cud. Oh, there's another lady. Goodness. Distracted. What I was going to say was our ruminants actually, their brainwaves imitate sleep patterns when they are ruminating. Roger's heard on the subject of our antelope species, one much smaller than the kudu, that duiker are recorded to eat small birds, rodents, and eggs and lizards and such the like, and was wondering whether any of the other antelope species do something similar, eat meat. They can do. A lot of them practice osteophagy, which I'm sure you know, which is the process of chewing on old bones to get the calcium. All antelope do occasionally nibble on carcasses. There's something about duiker, though, that it seems to be particularly prevalent with the duiker, that they will snack on such things. But all of our antelope across the board, there is a chance of them supplementing their diet with a little bit of meat every now and again. It's much more common in duiker, though, and warthog as well. Warthog, bushpig, duiker. They seem to be the ones that do it. Bushbuck as well, also recorded to feed off such things. So it just goes to show, although they are obligate herbivores, they only really eat plant material. You never say never. I've seen a giraffe graze before, which is definitely not something you will find in any of the textbooks, but it does happen. They don't read the rule books, and they will feed on whatever it is their body tells them that they need to feed on. Speaking of which, of course, keep an eye out for our omnivorous jackal pair that has made this area their home. We could well be seeing them on our way through to Arethusa. But let's just check up on what's happening at Sydney's Dam. I'm going to guess and say it's going to be very, very quiet. It's just a guess, but because it's very windy and very cool, nothing's rushing to the water's edge. And that big open area that is around most of the dams around here automatically makes things a lot more nervous than they might otherwise be. I haven't been to Sydney's Dam in a long time. I'm interested to see how much water is here. Oh, lots of water. I was wrong. It is not quiet. There is one white pickup truck. And that's it. For now, Sydney's Dam, devoid of any large mammal life. I'm sure there's plenty of birds around there. There's probably plenty of catfish. So not fair to say that it's devoid of all life. But it is devoid of mammal life. In that case, we shall move on and carry along down Sandy Patch. Let's see if the lions haven't tricked us and moved across further to the west than we originally thought. This area, just by the way, for Sydney's Dam, for those of you who are unfamiliar with our geography, is outside of our traverse area. I'm going to do a naughty thing and do a U-turn reversing back in here, but I'm only going in about 5 feet. Okay. Alright, while we investigate the top northwestern corner of Djuma, James is making his way towards the top northeastern corner of Djuma. Let's see what's happening at Buffelshoek Dam.
Hello! Nothing here. I thought I might have seen a leopard track, but I have not. We're not quite at Buffelshoek Dam yet, everybody. We're going straight up here towards it. I'm hoping that it's slightly more productive than Sydney's Dam was. Yesterday, it was extremely productive, there being 5 lions there, and we had no idea that they were there until we arrived, and very, very gratefully saw the golden pelage of a lioness sitting on the spit of land that extends into the waterhole, which was rather wonderful. Now, if there's nothing at the dam, what we'll do is we'll go out down into this sort of drainage system to the left-hand side of your screen, and the reason we'll do that, of course, is that's where the little cubs of the lions have been kept. Now, we are having a fireside chat a little bit later, and we're going to look at some of those clips of the lion cubs. Sorry, I just see something on the road here. There's an elephant, Brian. It is lion tracks, but they're very old. So we won't worry about those. Let's go and have a look at the elephant. Oh, sorry, bump. Try and get a decent picture of him. He's in some thickish bush. Doesn't look like he's on his own. No, there are a few of them here. But they may be a little bit far off the road. It's probably about as good as we're going to get for now, I'm afraid. Anyway, there's a herd of elephants, and we will be looking at the cubs and some elephants during the fireside chat, and mostly, of course, the most astounding thing about the lion sightings we've had is the fact that we all giggle like school children when we first see the little lion cubs. It's very amusing, and then Jamie manages to hold it together far better than Brent or I do, which is quite amusing. Anyway, that's what we're going to be looking at 6:15. And Tony, you want to know if it's going to be on Facebook or on normal stream? It will be the normal stream, Tony. The Facebook thing, I'm afraid, didn't work so well here because our internet connection is too slow. But we will eventually be, I don't know, we might do it through Facebook one day once our internet connection is okay. But at the moment, it will remain on the normal stream. You can see he's missing a tusk, that elephant. One of them has got knocked out some stage during his life, and we often get asked, do we think that hurts? Is there a nerve there? Is it a painful thing? And it is most definitely painful. There's a big fat nerve that goes into the middle of an elephant's tusk, and it's like a squid. I mean, that's the best way I can describe it. It's like an enormous sort of squid, long pointy thing, and you can just imagine the pain that must ensue when a tusk gets bitten off, or not get bitten off, when it breaks off. And it will normally break off, of course, this time of the year, when it's been used a lot to break bark or bust into trees to get the bark off. And if there's a little bit of a weakness or an infection or an abscess, then the tusk can break. And the tusk, of course, the middle incisor tooth. There's another one up ahead, Brian, a bit closer to the road. There are a few more there. Let's go a bit closer. There's a whole herd here feeding through the woodland. And maybe going towards Buffelshoek Dam, I'm not sure. Just looking at the ground, many hyena tracks, but no lions or leopards. Here we go. Just going to stop here. As this cow is coming towards us at a bit of a speed. So let's just wait and see what they do. She was kind of wandering down the road at quite a speed. Now, I wonder if this isn't the same group that Jamie had this morning. The young male, or the young elephant that they called Benjamin Button, because he looks wrinkly, and wrinklier before his age. Yeah, I think that is him. In fact, it must be him. That's Benjamin Button. For those of you who don't know the reference, if I'm not mistaken, and Kirsten will correct me here, Benjamin Button, of course, that movie where didn't that fellow get younger and younger, as opposed to older and older? Is that right, Brian? Ah, okay. Good. And that's him there, Benj. And the reason he's been called that, of course, is because he is so very, very wrinkly. Now, I'm going to consider moving, but for the moment, let's just wait here. They might go round us. Well, I hope they go round us, don't you, Brian? I want them to go through us. Okay, they're getting quite close. We're just going to be very quiet now as they go by. Just be very quiet, everyone. Whisper. Benjamin and his mum, Mrs. Benjamin, are now only about, I don't know, 9 feet from us. Isn't that wonderful? Look at Benjamin. He really does have the most bizarre skin. Sorry, Mum, Mrs. Benjamin, I don't mean to insult your baby. He's very little, he's very young. He's probably only about 3 or 4 months old, if that. And then there's another little one there, just going past us. And now I will try and turn the vehicle, and we'll get another view of Benji and his family. Marvellous! I'm so glad I've got to see him. I've heard much about him, but I haven't seen him before. Look at Benjamin there. Tony, very nice question from you. You say, is it you, or do elephants strut when they walk? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They strut when they're saying kind of get out of my way, what are you doing? It's a little bit like a swagger, when a human being does a swagger in order to show that they're either uncomfortable or irritated or not very happy. Then they do that kind of swagger, and that's what she was doing coming down the road like that, just kind of giving us a little bit of a warning. There goes Benji. He's just chasing a fork-tailed drongo onto the tree. There is something so utterly ridiculous about an elephant running, especially when it's that age. You're going charging off down the road. He's just playing there. And of course that play behavior, like with all mammals, very important for social bonding. It's very important for coordination. It's very important for the neurological system and its connections. And this is his mum in front of us, or just the young bull. I think it's a young bull. Right in front of us here, just over there. Very close by, very comfortable, thankfully, with us. And Benji's gone off with his mates. And we'll go and have another look at him, I think. Let's just watch this one here. Unfortunately, the silver cluster leaf tree is about to have a very bad Sunday. Yes, there it goes. Amazing. It is not, it's not a small tree, everybody. That's quite thick. It's probably about, I don't know, say 4 inches in diameter. And she's now eating the leaves, or he's now eating the leaves. Let's go back and see if we can't get one more view of Benjamin. I can see him down there. His mum seemed relatively happy to have us around, so we'll stay. That is a female. I think that may well be his mum. Niche in New York. You want to know about what happens if a cow dies. If an elephant cow dies and she's got a calf, will another lactating female take over? Niche, they are one of the very few species where that does happen. One of the very few where an unrelated female will adopt a cow who's been orphaned. Sorry, young one. I don't think there's any need to behave like that, especially as Benjamin was so happy to see us. So Niche, the whole herd will sort of kind of take over the orphaned elephant. And the other matriarchal society we have out here, of course, the hyenas. That does not happen. If a female dies and she's got little cubs, they will absolutely be doomed. In lions, it can happen if there are lactating females of the right age within the pride. It's not so much an adoption because they all do cross-suckle regardless. But yes, absolutely. This chap is showing us how very strong he is. Yes, you are very strong. And we respect you. And we will especially respect you when you are 6.5 tons in height or size. Now here comes Mum again behind us. I'm just going to wait for her to come past us before I move the car again. Except she stopped to eat, so I'm not. Benji's just up ahead. Let's go and see what he's doing. You calm down over there. I'm being ridiculous. Kathy, you want to know if elephants give birth standing up? They do indeed give birth standing up, Kathy. They kind of squat. And they give birth standing up. just keeping an eye here. Now, I know that we're being... It looks like we're having a sort of very fun sighting, which of course we are having. And there's Benjamin in front of us. But it is very important to realize, of course, that these are elephants, and we've got to keep an eye out for their behavior. And the key to staying safe around elephants is to not be complacent about their behavior. You can keep watching how they're feeling, where's the matriarch, who's the matriarch, what's she saying to the others, what is her body language to you. And that's what we're doing now. At the moment, everyone seems completely relaxed, and I think that the matriarch is probably Benjamin's mother. She's just coming up now to the right-hand side of us, and she looks completely relaxed. Brian, when you see on the tree there are a whole lot of moths. Isn't that bizarre? Look at those moths, everyone. That's astounding this time of the year. You wouldn't expect there to be any moths. Let's go and see if we can see them. Bethany, while we try and see those moths and get another view of Benji, you want to know about the... Sorry, you want to know about the resting position of the ears. Do they come out like that, resting position, or is it flat against the body? It's most definitely flat against the body, Bethany. It's not opened out. Opened out is purely when they're a little bit cross. These are burnets. I think burnet moths. I'm going to go and kidnap some. Ooh, watch out, Brian. Terror and terror. Can you see? A very large bull elephant just attacked us. And I'm being completely facetious, of course. He is a young bull, and he's just bored with feeding all day long, and so he thought he'd just give us a bit of a rev and see what happened. And now he's disappearing because he's very ashamed that we didn't run away from him. Let me go a little bit forward. I'd love to try and grab one of these moths. While I do that, everybody, Jamie Patterson has got something very exciting to show you.
I do indeed have something very exciting to show you. And sorry, I'm just going to move up so that Johan, who found our lines after all of that, can come and join us. Can you believe it? You're never going to believe where they popped out. Remember when I said I'm not going to go down Gowrie Cut Line because we've had so much line luck there, but I don't think it's going to happen again. Remember that sentence? Remember that? Remember that, Dave? Guess where these lionesses popped out, everybody? Yep. Gowrie Cut Line, Junction Buffelshoek Cut Line. So we were just 10 minutes too early. There we go. How awesome is this? 3 Nkuhuma lionesses wandering down the road. Only seen 2 so far, I think, but there are apparently 3 of them moving past Jors at the moment and his guests as she wanders through. I wonder where the male is, actually. We raced through, but there's a good chance that he's going to be following up behind. Look at that, that's such a cool picture. Exciting times for that gentleman. Looking like empty bellies. I wonder where they're off to. Okay. We are coming up to Buffelshoek Dam at the moment. We're going to lose a view of them for now. I'm going to move over and let Johan come past. Oh, but let's just wait for this. This is absolutely awesome. Oh, wow. Look at that. Does it get more iconic? Beautiful. I'm not going to move just yet. I'm going to let her walk out of shot because this is just too stunning. And there she goes. They're going for a drink at Buffelshoek Dam. that's where they're going. I can almost guarantee it. Okay. Let's go and meet them there, shall we? Where did she go? She must be in the quarry. Oh, there she is. Oh, they're moving. Standing by. Copy that, thank you. Okay guys, the game's just changed. These are some very hungry cats. And there's some buffalo. So we're just going to... Oh wow. The buffalo, I haven't seen them. There. Buffalo there. Lions there, look at that. The lions probably about... Oh wow. This is incredible. There's one there. There's lioness stalk. She's so close to them. She is just a little bit to the right. There's a fallen tree there. These lions are going to go for these buffalo. Okay, we're going to be very quiet. They're totally downwind. This is incredible. This is not what I was expecting this afternoon. I don't know where the third lioness is. She's probably sneaking round. There she goes. There they go. Oh wow, that's incredible. Wait, they're coming back through here. They've got one. Thanks. This is incredible! Oh, they haven't got one. They're still chasing. Okay, let's stop here. Move up for Johan. Just stay there. Okay, panicked buffalo. Oh, buffalo fighting back. They're chasing the lionesses away. And there's absolute pandemonium here. Okay, we're just going to lose a view for the moment, but that's okay. The buffalo fighting back. They're chasing the lionesses away. Oh! This is absolutely incredible. I cannot believe this is the way the afternoon has gone. Dave, what kind of luck do you bring? Okay, bear with me. We're going to reposition round here. Sorry, Rust Bucket. And the lionesses, there they go. The lionesses have lost their... Oh, this is incredible. Lioness is looking for an opportunity, herding the buffalo towards Buffelshoek Dam. I can't believe this. Absolutely phenomenal. 3 lionesses making a very brave attempt at catching an adult buffalo bull. It's not beyond them. Okay. There's a lioness there. Okay, we don't want to get in the way here. They're chasing through there. Just listen to the sounds they're making. Absolutely incredible. Okay. So what have you? Thank you. Okay, this is going to be very interesting. What is going to happen next? Are the buffalo going to continue to turn the tables on the lions, or are the lions going to manage this? Thanks, yeah. Hold on, Dave. They're going again. I'm gonna get us a good view. Buffalo fighting back. Trying to stay together in their herd. There's dust flying everywhere. And 3 very hungry predators. Trying to single a buffalo out. Lioness playing peekaboo around the termite mound. And the buffalo panicked. Oh, one massive bull chasing them away. There's just lions everywhere. Lions and buffalo. There's a young, this bull. Oh, sorry, it's a cow. Look, this is the cow that they've got. They've already actually caught her. There's a big piece missing out of her back end. And that's the one that they're targeting, but they can't get past the big buffalo bulls. That's the female. They want that female. Here comes the lioness is regrouping. And moving around. And standing by. Sorry, guys. They're just to the north, in the block north of Bubbles Dam. They're hunting in Yari. Look at this standoff. Look at this. It's incredible. They are in the block north of Buffelshoek Dam. They're static for now with the Nyari. Copy. Look at this. There you go. Look, there's the big bull. He's protecting that old cow with the long horns. Look at, she's panicked. She's been injured. I don't know where the other lions are for now. There they are. Trying to panic her, trying to separate her from the rest of the herd. And this could be a long standoff. This could change at any moment as well. Just see if they herd them back towards us. They've split up. One's chased a female right away from the rest of the group, and they've actually split the buffalo up. The cow's coming back towards the lioness. We're going to go again. Okay guys, we're going to do quite a long loop. We're going to get around to the other side. Oh, this is absolutely incredible. This poor old buffalo making what might be her final stand in life. Defended by 2 buffalo bulls, and the reason she's with them could well be that she's already been chased by these lions at some point. They are hungry and they are determined. And now we wait. It's like everything's frozen. Lionesses are tired. They managed to jump on the back of that female, but they just couldn't quite get her down because the buffalo bulls came back to chase them away. Look at that. He's herding her back away from the lions. He's standing between her and the lions. How is that for animal behavior? That's absolutely incredible. She's older, she's thin. That injury to her rump is, I know you haven't seen it yet, it's quite painful looking. They've cut deep into the muscle. And now we have a standoff. Now, I know you can't see for now. It's not the best view, but things could change at any moment. Absolutely any moment. Wow. Well, that was exciting. Whew. Now, isn't that incredible how things just change over here? The buffalo are moving off. The lions are following, but at a much more sedate pace. Oh, they're going again. They're going to go again. There they go. And that main bull, buffalo bull, acting as defender. The lion's just patiently waiting for the opportunity. They're going again. Okay, they've slowed a little bit. The third lioness is missing. I don't know where she's gone. They're looking for support. They cannot do this, just the two of them alone. Where is she gone? She's coming. She's coming. She's behind. Guys, if these buffalo continue north, it will be the end of our sighting. Unfortunately, it's north of our traverse. Let's go to the buffalo. We're hitting the fire break now. For now, the buffalo mobile north. They are going into Buffelshoek. Let's just wait for a moment. The lionesses are going to come out behind them. And they've gone. Lionesses are moving off. Yeah, there the lionesses go. That was absolutely phenomenal. And today, one very lucky buffalo cow walks away with walking away from it with an injured backside and probably some serious adrenaline, but she's safe. And our three hungry lions are going to have to carry on their search. It was a bold attempt on their behalf. Just the three of them taking on a full-grown adult buffalo. And our nkuhumas are still hungry. Wow. That was very, very close to being a lion kill. Sure, Rusty, well done. And well done to Dave as well. Alright, we're going to stay with these lionesses for as long as we can. Let's go over to James, who's not far from us at all, just a couple of 100 meters, probably listening to the drama going down.
Oh, the drama, everybody. I've been listening to the drama and, well, slightly rooting for the buffalo and slightly rooting for the lions and rather hoping they'd come cascading down towards the dam here and we'd find ourselves in the sighting by mistake. Much easier to ask for forgiveness than for permission. Instead, we have been watching the back end of 2 Egyptian geese as they feed on the algae in what is very fast drying up Buffelshoek Dam. There is also a hippopotamus just the other side of the dam there. The last time we saw him, Brian and I went down close to get a closer look. He got very cross with us indeed, and so we decided we'd choose discretion as the better part of valor here, and we're just going to sit right where we are now. There are a couple of other birds, ring-necked doves, blacksmith lapwings, and 1 or 2... Oh, excuse me, everybody. Misonde launch is threatening to, well, it's just, it's not quite digesting yet. And there is a 3-banded plover as well. That's I don't know if you can see it, Brian, with that lens. It's that little thing sort of just beyond the gooses. And there we are. 3-banded plover, everybody. So those of you keeping bird lists, Egyptian goose, common. Ring-necked duff, common. 3-banded plover, not so common, quite common. Blacksmith lapwing. And I don't know if you can hear them, but the Egyptian geese are making quite a noise. They're going... They're eating algae, and they will be finding probably the odd snail and that sort of thing. Right, the lioness are heading in this direction. There are about 3 or 4 vehicles trying to get into the sighting, so we're going to extract out of here. And that sounds very dramatic. It just means we're going to drive away. And we're hopefully going to go down into the valley where those little cubs were, and maybe we'll find them playing in the sand.
Alright, guys, we're just about to lose view of them. They're crossing a drainage line that we won't, despite Rusty's sheer courage, we will not be able to follow them through. A fair bit of still mobile east, southeast. They're crossing the drainage now. Sorry guys, we need to keep Gladwell updated because he's going to go around. These lionesses not settling for now. They're going to keep moving. We've got one still flat. Oh, it's going to take a while for my heart rate to settle down a little bit. That was incredibly dramatic. Wow. Absolutely phenomenal. And Roger agreed. Even though it was a failed hunting attempt, it was only just a failed attempt, and to watch something like that live and not on a documentary is absolutely extraordinary. We really are so fortunate. And these are the sorts of moments that make a live safari so incredibly, I don't know, addictive in a way, because you just, when we say you never know what's going to happen, you really never know what is going to happen. And that's certainly not what I expected when we raced back to these lionesses. When I said I was setting out to find lions today, this is not what I expected. Here we go. So Gladwell's made his way. He's now got visual. So that means we can go around and join in there. We can reposition to get a better view. Whoa! That was intense. And Valeria, that was an incredible sighting. And yes, absolutely, that buffalo is going to survive that injury. I know you guys never really got to see it. It's not going to kill her. Chances are she will be absolutely fine. She was not, look, it was adrenaline as well, but she was not even limping at that point. she's going to be fine, Valeria, and to all of those concerned about her. These animals are phenomenally resilient. And they heal up from injuries that would lay a human being low without any difficulty. I've got to go around, guys, and at some point I'm going to have to leave this sighting. Oh, let's try and get ourselves up and around. Hold on, Rusty. There's some serious manic driving there. Sure. That was so close. That was really so close. And that female buffalo owes her life to those males. They came back, and that's this extraordinary courage. Mike, make your way in. I will pull out. Extraordinary courage of these animals to stand by one. Let me just see. Oh. Okay, guys, I do have to direct some people into the sighting. It does mean we have to leave the sighting. As you can imagine, what they must have felt like listening to all of this happening on the radio. Oh, goodness. We find ourselves with a bit of a... Come along the fire break. Come from Cheetah Cut Line. Come west along the fire break. Trying to direct into a sighting is very tricky. My radio comms don't seem to be working. How on earth did they manage to get up here? Okay, we're going to be at quite the angle here, Dave. Are you ready for this? No, I'm actually not going to do this to Rusty with another vehicle approaching. We have to pull straight back out. Sorry, guys. We did get an extraordinary view. There is a vehicle right behind us. Here's Mike. So we do have to pull out regardless of my decision as to whether or not to take that angle. Oh. There we go. And just like that, it is... Ooh, it was close. Yo! I'm laughing, I'm sorry. Mike's turn, just show them that gap there. That was nearly disastrous. There's a massive dip there that the wheel... Come look at this tire track. Come look at this tire track, it's incredible. Sure. You should be able to see it. Look at where that tire track falls. Can you get it there, Dave? Yeah. Look there. Okay. If you look a little bit to the left there, Dave. Oh, there you go. Look there. Perfect. That's the tire track. That's why I was making a little bit of noise. Let's get out of here, guys. That is phenomenal. What an afternoon. And that's all happened in half an hour. Everything turned insane. Phew. The excitement, Dave. Whew. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a circle. We're going to wait for everybody to have their turn, spend some time with sleeping lions for a while, and then we're going to come back. Because those lionesses are hungry girls. And they are going to keep trying. They're going to keep pushing. Unfortunately, the position that they're in at the moment is tricky because they're right in the corner of our traverse area. Right, I'm going to go and calm my nerves once we get across to a road. That really was an intense moment. And while we do that, and while we make sure we're out of the sighting completely, let's go back over to James, find out what he's up to.
Well, I must say that sounds extremely exciting, slightly more exciting than our drive has been so far. Brian, the excitement of our afternoon so far, my hitting a stump.
Yes.
Yes, and launching you off your seat. Yes.
It was quite exciting.
It was very exciting. Thrilling to the max, as they say in local young man's parlance, apparently. We have come down onto the banks of the Mulwati drainage, as I said we were going to, hoping to find some lion tracks. Now, this is the last position where those cubs were seen, but that was yesterday morning, if I'm not mistaken. I have seen no tracks of them, and I think it's quite interesting that there are only 3 lionesses in that sighting that you've just had. So I'm rather hoping that the other one, Spotty Nose, has come down here perhaps and is maybe lurking right around here, hopefully with youngsters. There, Brian, is a black-crowned chagra that has now unfortunately disappeared. No, I'm afraid it's gone. But it's always a good idea just to stop and have a little bit of a listen, see if you can pick up the sound of those cubs playing. Or the mother growling at them, of course. But I mean, I've got nothing, I'm afraid, now. Can't hear nothing. You can hear the arrow-marked babblers, further babblers fighting with each other, but otherwise not much. It's getting substantially colder as we sit here. I'm quite looking forward to getting to the fireside, and that will be the last 15 minutes of the drive. Sorry, Foxhat, I missed your question. The game drive radio exploded to life in my ear. Can we go again to that? Oh, Foxhat, you say, do we get African fish eagles? We do, and I'm not looking to the sky facetiously. We actually just saw one. It was calling. And, of course, a quintessential call of the African bushveld is the fish eagle. And there was one just above Buffelshoek Dam. I will play the call for you, and I'm sure, Foxhat, that's probably why you've asked, because the call is just so very nice and very distinctive. Let me find it for you. Of course, one must never drive and look at a bird app, everybody. It's very dangerous. Not so, Brian.
You hit tree stumps like that.
Exactly, you hit tree stumps like the one that I hit earlier. Why the fish eagle is not with the rest of the eagles is beyond me. I'm going to hit something. There it is. Yes, hopefully not another tree stump. Here we go, everybody.
Wonderful.
Cool. There you go. That's what it sounds like, everyone. Once more. The wonderful sound of the African bush, that. Shut up now. Thank you very much. No tracks of lions in this area. We're going to do another loop around here on another road that we haven't driven yet. We have also seen lots of kudu, lots of nyala. Unfortunately, you were looking at, well, very fortunately, you were looking at the lions at the time, so we didn't sort of drag you over to look at them. I always find it so amazing how it seems that, you know, those lions were there, 3 of them against a seemingly injured buffalo cow, and they give up. I don't really understand what it is, what makes them give up in a situation like that. It's always quite interesting. Because so often you think we're going to see a kill now. This is an amazing, you know, this is the perfect setup. Nothing. Alright, let's do a drive up this way and see if we can't find anything, any evidence of those cubs. I think that they're quite deep in the block there, and I think it's going to be difficult for us to see them. But we might just be lucky that she's brought them out onto the road or somewhere close by. And they do seek the refuge of these rather thick, sort of thick bushy areas because they're great places for the cubs to hide. Oh! Those moths that we saw, they're called burnets. Well, similar to burnets, they're actually called footmen. And when we get up to the top here, I'll stop and I'll show you a picture of them. Well, sort of burnets. I think they're related to the burnets. It's called a footman. Why they've decided to come out in the winter time, I can't imagine. It seems like a very odd time. No flowers for them to eat. Anyway, let's just have a listen here, and while we have a listen, I'll show you the footman. Where are you? I should find them, everybody. I should find them quickly, but you know, sometimes I forget where these things are. Not the frother. Bauer's frother moth. No, there it is. The plated footman. And they apparently live in Fynbos, the subtropical forest, but I'm not sure what they eat. I'm just going to quickly have a look and see what they eat. They're all related, these chaps here. Forest moths, blah blah, hump capable, body. Doesn't say what they eat. Don't know. Anyway, that's what they are. And yeah, I don't know why there should be a flush now on a guarri bush. So they're obviously hatched close by to that guarri bush. I suspect they're all going to die, because I suspect they're all looking for. Oh, you know why? I'll show you exactly why they're flowered. Check this out. Ha! This is a guarri bush. And it's starting. Oh, those aren't flowers. Those are the startings of the berries. That's very odd. I wonder if they aren't going... You know what? They're not. They're buds. These are buds. These are flower buds for the guarri bush. Very strange time of the year, unless you're evergreen, in which case it's probably quite a clever time of the year because there's much less competition for nutrients. That's exactly what these footmen are going for. That's really interesting. And they were sitting on a guarri bush just like this. Are you so amazed, Brian?
Absolutely.
Gobsmacked beyond all belief. Yes, I know.
There was an update.
What was the update?
Jamie has a flat tire.
Jamie is the first to flatten a rusty tire. That is impressive. I suspect very strongly that something went through the sidewall. Ooh. Apparently there are cubs at the lion sighting. Oh dear. I wonder if we can get in there. I think there are thousands of people trying to get there. That's a real pity. I'm just going to listen to see if we can't maybe get in there. Yeah, no, there are 3 or 4 people standing by, so I'm afraid we're not going to get in there. Anyway, so the cubs are right around there. So they're not around here. That is a dreadful pity. I'm now at a loss. I don't know what to do. Brian, what should we do? Find other cubs?
Yes.
Leopard cubs, maybe.
Cubs, hyena cubs.
Hyena cubs. Maybe that's a good option. Maybe we should head towards the hyena den. I was so sure we were going to find little lion cubs around here. Oh well. Let me just get a quick update on the radio to find out how many people there are going there. It sounds like 3 or 4 though. Mike, do you copy? Silence. Station in control of the lion sighting near Bivelshoek, come in. Maybe am I speaking English? I am speaking English, aren't I?
Sorry, say again?
Yeah, you see, exactly the problem. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on there. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get in there, everyone, I'm afraid. I'll just keep an ear on the radio, but for now we'll have to try and find some other things. I hope you don't mind. Mike, do you copy Mike? Afternoon, Mike. Mike, what's the vehicle situation in that sighting? Okay, copy. Yeah, do not to worry about me. I'll move in if everyone moves on. Thanks. We might be in. Okay, I'm just listening to Mike talking about it. Okay, we might have a chance, everyone. I'm not sure. We don't have a huge amount of light left, and we won't view them once the sun goes down. Okay, copy. Thanks. Yours not to worry. We've had a very nice lion sighting today, so you go for it. All right, what else can we find, Brian? Come on. Where are the leopard cubs? Now, as I was saying, Jamie, of course, one of the first to burst a rusty tyre. I thought they were absolutely indestructible. I suspect quite strongly that a stump snuck up on her from the side and burst the side wall. And I say one of the only because I think the only up until now who had managed that was me. Right, a couple of birds in this area. We'll just move a little slower up here. There's a warthog. Brian, you see it? You've got him there. Monique in London. You want to know if anyone's... That's perfect, isn't it, Brian? Oh, man. Sorry about the noise, everyone. I'm just moving the microphone in my hat. It's very painful. It's digging into my skull. There we are. Monique, you want to know about whether anyone's seen Sindile of late since his collar stopped pinging. Oh, have we got a squirrel there? No, not a squirrel. What a pity. Was it a green woodhooper? Well done, Brian. Thank you very much. Monique, there have been 2 sightings of him, both on kills since then. One on Elephant Plains and the other one, I think, a little bit further south of that. So, yes, he's fine. He's walking about the place and he's killing fairly substantial prey. I think he had an impala the other day, which is great. So I wasn't convinced that he was going to be able to sort of take larger prey, given that when he left here, he was taking only mongoose and that sort of thing. But he seems to be okay. There's the green woodhooper that Brian was talking about is in this tree there. You can just see its tail sticking out, and you can also hear it going. There you are. And he'll be looking for little grubs and worms and things that are underneath the bark and in the holes that have been dug by wood borer beetles. Isn't that nice? And as I have explained to you before, they were, of course, known as the green, at least as the red-billed woodhooper, which was a very logical name to call them. And they're now called the green woodhooper because they aren't green. It's a little odd, I feel. Anyway, that's the green woodhooper. Very beautiful bird. And in Zulu, of course, known as Guhlega Bafazi, which means the laughing woman. There they are. There's a bit of a bird party going on here. There are those green woodhoopers. There are some grey hornbills. And there were some Burchell starlings as well. It's very nice. Sharpening, yeah, it's catching all sorts of things in there. I wonder if there aren't some termites also crawling up and down the bark. And you must notice here, that is not a woodpecking beak. So although it looks like it's pecking the branches, it's actually pecking in between the bark layer and the wood. It is not a beak that's able to dig holes in dead wood. And not adapted to doing that, but they do then go and live in woodpeckers' holes. Very nice, Brian. Well done. Very sedate. Not quite lion cubs, but not bad. Alrighty, on we go. There's a... Let me just go back a bit, sorry. We've just got a few crested francolins, everyone. Cindy, you're in North Carolina and you say, are peacocks found in this area? Peacocks are known now, I think, by the sort of more ornithological term Indian peafowl. And they're known as Indian peafowl because they are found in India. They're not actually found here. And just beyond the... So, I mean, yes, they have been imported into this area. But just beyond the crested francolin, of course, Brian, there seems to be an elephant. That's very nice of him to show himself to us. Let me just reverse back a little. Come on, Wendy. There you go. Oh. That's very nice to see. Let's see if maybe the rest of the herd is here. This could well be the other herd. So the Indian peafowl is native to India, obviously. As far as I'm aware, but I don't find it in my bird app. It might be in my bird book. And so while they have been imported to this area and are found in various exotic gardens around the place, you won't find them in the wild. There's a little calf there. It was just the two of them. Let me see if I can quickly find it for you. Where do I... It's not in this... Oh, there we go. Got it. Common peafowl, sorry. Not Indian peafowl. Feral population exists on Robben Island. That's the only sort of a wild existing population of the Indian peafowl or the common peafowl. It'd be quite fun to see a peafowl knocking about here, wouldn't it be, Brian? I'd be most surprised to hear caw-caw. There we go. She's a lovely cow coming very confidingly closer towards us. I don't know where the rest of them are. I don't know why there are only two. I can't hear any others moving either. Try and get an age on that calf. Still assume, I can hear a few more in the background now. Oh, I think that's a little thing, you know. Just walking very slowly with Mum. Hello Motaz, you're a new viewer and you have asked a very good question, especially for a new viewer. And it's especially relevant if you're ever planning on coming to Africa. You say, is it safe for us to be driving around on an open vehicle around lions and elephants? And the answer, Motaz, is yes, if you are careful. And so we understand the animal behavior, well, we try and understand the animal behavior. We read their body language. So in the case of the elephants, while she very clearly does not see us as the threat, and the little one doesn't either, and so we're perfectly safe being here. Were we to irritate her, we could drive away, and then there would be no threat, so it would increase the space between us and her, and that would decrease any threat that there might be. As far as lions go, lions don't perceive us as a threat in the vehicles. Now remember, Motaz, that it's wonderful. Almost no animals out here are inherently aggressive, which means that the lions don't see us as something to attack. And indeed, when we're on foot, Motaz, they're afraid of us. So they see us as a threat completely when we're on foot, and they run away normally. And when you're in the vehicle, they don't see you in the same way as they do when you're on foot. And so it's a very kind of It's a very sort of relaxed situation when they're in the vehicles. Sometimes they run away from the vehicles, but very, very seldom do they run towards us and create a threat. Isn't that nice? That was wonderful. And the little one just sort of trying to use the trunk, I'd say probably maybe not quite a year. Not quite as little as I thought. You can see how the trees are being absolutely mangled. Hello, Brock. I'm not sure that I've heard from you either. You say, do elephants huddle together during extreme temperatures and extreme rainstorms in the same way that cattle do? Brock, no, I don't think they do. I've never seen them doing that. Remember, they don't get as cold as cattle do because they are so much bigger, and so they lose heat much more slowly than something like a cow would. And so, look, the little ones do lie down, and the little ones will seek out the comfort of their mothers and the warmth that their mothers provide. But they don't huddle in the same way that cattle do. No, that's an interesting question. Their skin is also not completely waterproof. So while it is water resistant, it's not completely waterproof. And I wonder if that doesn't make them colder or hotter. I'm not sure. And if you look at this cow here, she's struggling a little. You can see that her hips are starting to show beneath the spine there, and that's a function of the drought. That really is a little bit trying to see, especially she's got a little calf who she's suckling. And then Gremlins General, as that elephant disappears behind a tree, you want to know till what age will they look after their youngsters. Gremlins General, this is a astounding Twitter handle, you say at least it's she'll stay, if it's a female calf, she'll stay with the herd forever until she's an adult. But they stop being dependent at about 4 or 5 years. And although they will continue to be around their mothers and they will seek out the support of their mothers, they more seek the support of the whole herd from then. But they wean by about 3 or 4 years, and sometimes a little later than that, but normally around sort of 3 or 4 years. Thank you, Gremlins General. Right, let us continue. See what else we can find along the way. We'll try and get an update from that sighting. I think, however, that with the lateness of the day, we might get in. Kirsten, can you just find out from Jamie, please, how long her tyre change is going to take? Because maybe she must go back there. But maybe we can try and make our way in there. I see they've had a little bit of trouble. We've got a great plethora of antelope here. We've got waterbuck up ahead, male and female, bull. There, that's him there. See him, Brian?
I do.
That's him there. And then to the right of him, a cow. Sorry, to the left of him. That's the other way, the port side. There's a cow. There she is, grazing peacefully. And to the left of them, we've got some nyalas. A really nice herd of nyalas. There we are. A beautiful bull nyala there. And he's got his hackles up. You can see he's got his white hair sticking up on the mantle. And that's because there's another, I did see another nyala bull around here. And I think that's why he's got his hackles up there. Very nice. See the tips of the horns there, and nobody knows really why Nyala's got white tips to the horns. And grazing, it looks like he's grazing, but he's not. He's eating forbs, which means sort of unidentified herbaceous plants. They can't eat grass. They don't have the digestive system to cope with it. I mean, they can, but they really will not derive any nutrition from it. So he has to find green leaves to eat. And while there are more in the way of green leaves from trees to find out here, they also carry with them the risk of the great chemical defensive mechanisms that they produce. So tannins and various other poisons make it difficult. So although apparently it looks like there's a lot of green leaf around, it doesn't mean that there's lots to eat for all of these animals. They will struggle to process a lot of the toxins and chemical defenses that these plants produce. Beautiful. Alrighty, on we go. Hello, Kathy in North Carolina. You want to know if the landowners plant food plants for the animals out here? No, Kathy. Everything is done purely on nature, as it were. And I'm just going to quickly show you a picture of the sun there. Isn't that nice, Brian? Very artistic of me to see that, I think. So, Kathy, no, nothing is planted in very extreme situations. The landowners may put out something like a salt lick, which is a sort of very hard, salty, mineral-rich block of, well, salt, really. And then the animals can come and lick that if they're feeling particularly desperate and hungry. But otherwise, no. There's not much done in the way of helping to feed the animals, especially through this sort of dry time. And that's because we want to try and let nature take its course. And of course, that can be, well, I mean, it can sound a little ridiculous when you see that we have got dams and pumped pans and that sort of thing. But we try not to have too much effect. That is beautiful, Brian. Great slices of golden sunshine. Again, I'd love to say that that was my line, but it isn't. I stole it from, I think her name's Mary Atwood. Wrote an extremely depressing book called, what was it called? I've forgotten what it was called. Something about a god. Anyway, I'll get someone in the final control to chill. Don't go and read it. It's very, very depressing. Well, I suppose some people like depressing books. No, not The Hunger for God, Kirsten. Another one. Try again. I think her name was Mary Atwood. Anyway. Not A Lost Believer either. I'll try and find out for you. Oh, and a kudu. Many kudu. Dozens of them. Well, 3. 1 bull, 2 cows. So, oh, you see what he's doing. Can you hear that, Brian? Can you hear the soft patter on the leaf litter? You know what that is?
I do.
It is the usual story, Brian.
The very usual story.
It is the soft pattering of dung balls hitting the leaf litter, as all animals seem to do when they see me. She's a rather splendid kudu cow. Thought she might cross the road, then thought, not so sure about this lot. He is magnificent. Look at him. Eh? You can see immediately why he is the emblem of the South African National Parks Board. Beautiful. And these combretum trees, which are maintaining their leaves, of course, they are full of toxic tannins. And so the kudus won't be able to eat too many of them. They'll have to eat them mixed with other things. So although they're full of protein and good to eat in terms of that nutrition, they won't be able to just devour a tree full of combretum leaves because there are toxins involved. There's is a magnificent rack of horns. You can see how heavy they are to carry. You see how he really does sway from side to side because of the mass of his head. Very impressive indeed. Righty. See what else we can find on this productive little stretch of road. There are a whole lot more kudu on the right-hand side here. There we go. Mike, you say, why have there been so many pangolin sightings of late in the Kruger Park? Mike, I didn't know that there had been. I know there have been a few. I don't know, Mike. All I can think is that because there are sort of far fewer leaves on the trees than there would be during the summertime, and because we've had a bit of a drought, the vegetation is that much thinner, and perhaps that has caused them to be just a little bit more exposed. They do eat many ants and termites. Maybe there's some kind of change in the ant movements, and that's what they're following. I don't know, but I certainly haven't. I mean, while I have seen the odd picture posted on social media, I haven't been aware that there's been a great plethora of pangolin sightings. But Mike, those would be my guesses as to why they seem to be more of them around. The cheerful giggling of a family on Game Drive from Biffle's Hook you can hear, and we'll leave them to the kudus. Alrighty, on we go. That cloud is looking increasingly ominous as the sky starts to sort of lessen with light. Are you doing? Good. They looked so amazed to see us, didn't they, Brian? It's because we're celebrities, you know. We're so lucky. There was somebody sitting on the back of the car, and I waved like this, and he went, as if he'd spotted either a ghost or maybe he was just shocked by my woolly jumper. I'm not sure. I think it was my manly physique as well, Brian. Thank you, yes. I think that's exactly what it was. My manly physique. Right, let's go back out onto the Cheetah Cut line, which is the eastern part of the reserve, and go north. Shane, thank you for your question. As we look at these gunmetal grey clouds attempting to scud across the sky, you say, when is the rainy season? Shane, the rainy season is normally sort of late, well, the earliest is late October. It begins, and then sort of up until the end of February, somewhere around there. Never very predictable. We did have a little spatter of rain today, didn't we, Brian? And what, probably about 0.5 millimetre. Not even. So 1 or 2 spits came out of this rather ominous sky. I think I've said ominous enough today, don't you, Brian? Not nearly enough. I think you're right. I'll say it a few more times then. So, Shane, there were a few spits today. We do get a few spits during the winter time, but very seldom. Now we'll turn north onto the Beefles Hook cut line. Right, Smiles, thank you. It is Margaret Atwood. It's not Mary Atwood, and it's not Smiles and Oryx. What? Oryx and Crakes? It's not. It's Margaret Atwood, though, and it's called... No, not Year of the Flood. It's called A God of Something. Come on, chaps. I think it's called A God of Something. She won awards for it. No... No, not that one either. I thought it was their most famous one. I'll find it for you now. You know what? I will find it for you. Because I've got it on my books on my phone. All right, while I have a look, Jamie's back up and running. Let's go and find out what she's got to tell you.
I'm so sorry about that. That was the... Oh goodness, now I can't find the radio. That was the longest and most complicated tire change in the history of tire changes. So, during the chaos of the lion hunt, I ripped out the valve. I tore it completely. And when I stopped for a brief break, all I could hear was air streaming out of our right front tire. Easy enough. Changing a tire is in theory a 5 to 10 minute job. Not a problem at all. Here's a problem. Problem for a couple of reasons. First of all, this lovely thing called a wheel spanner, I found it like this, which meant searching for this part was both essential and also relatively difficult in the chaos that is this vehicle. Then the jack wouldn't come out, then the jack wouldn't work, and then through the concerted effort of, thank you Dave, Mike Grover, and most especially Kaylin Grover, who is 3, we managed to change the tire whilst watched by Grandpa Grover, well, Candace Grandpa, Kaylin's little grandpa, big grandpa, and baby Casey, who, baby Casey at just about a year old, perhaps wasn't quite ready to change a tire just yet, but watched with some serious concentration, so I feel like she'd be ready for the next one. I'm very warm now, considering it's a very wintry day. There's nothing like changing a tile, breaking a nail, and bashing bolts all in one. We did well though, Dave. I feel as though we perhaps won't earn a spot in the pit stops of the Formula 1 races, but, you know, close enough. That good half an hour tire change we were pretty much spot on for. I'm going to the hyena den now. I don't quite know where James is, but I'm going to the hyena den. It's getting too late for us to jump in the queue for the lion cubs, and once the sun sets we won't be spotlighting them, and it is well on its way to doing so. Whew. Definitely a twinge in my back, and a misshapenness to my cushioning that wasn't there before. There you go. Okay, and we are back up and running. Very often in the bush, jobs that should be very, very simple turn out to be not so very simple. It is just the way of things. There's a certain inevitability to it. Shame, that kind driver of the pickup truck in front of us got very eager in terms of pulling off the road. We're still miles away from him and he's already pulled off for us. How terribly kind. As I said, there's lots and lots of standbys for the lion cubs, and since it is getting dark and we won't be able to spotlight them, I don't think it is worth us trying to wait for a place in the queue and then have to leave anyway just because it has got dark. We definitely don't want to be putting spotlights on them at their current age. Oh, thank you, Mr. Driver. I'm going to speed up just because I feel terrible for this poor person. Because it feels as though he's been waiting for me to go past for the last half an hour. Thank you! Thanks very much! Right, so Dave, on a very familiar patch of road today, back onto Buffelshoek cut line and off towards the hyena den. Dave and I have not travelled far today, but we have had a very, very dramatic afternoon. I think that since James is going to be setting up fireside chat, I don't know if he wants to head to the hyena den or not. We must just find out where we are in relation to each other. It's just been one of those days. It's been sort of utter chaos. The lions threw us into disrepair. Okay, now I'm... Oh no. Oh, never mind. I thought I'd lost my coat in the changing of the tire. I was about to be devastated. This jacket has followed me all the way from the Kalahari many, many years ago. To many different places. Oh goodness, there's a rain cover falling on me. Everything's all over the place. Wow, the light is really, really beautiful right now. I'm going to try and find a place that we can have a look at this because it's absolutely stunning. A lot of trees in the way, but it's catching. I don't know if we're going to be able to see that glow. We're going to be able to see the glow of the trees. It's really beautiful, this autumn bright orange red. Absolutely stunning. The clouds are gorgeous. Really is a truly beautiful evening. Now while we make our way across to the hyena den and have a look at what's happening there, from one sunset to another, let's go across to James.
Everybody, we are just experiencing the most beautiful sunrise. And, well, you know, I know that my mother always complains that I take too many pictures of the sun. Well, I'm unable to stop myself at this stage. It's too wonderful for words. Is it not, Brian?
It is, but it's not a sunrise.
No, it isn't a sunrise, is it?
No.
It's a sunset, everybody. And that the reason I called it a sunrise, of course, was because Kirsten, the final control, called it a sunrise. But that happens at the other time of the day, doesn't it, Brian?
It does.
Yes. Not now.
Not now, no.
Normally at the beginning of the day.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Beautiful. I think I've taken enough photographs of this. I'm still trying to find, everybody, what this beastly book is called. I may well have the wrong author. Yep, I think I may well. Anyway, we're going to make our way slowly towards the fireside chat after this incredible sunrise at sunset. While I do that, let's just to have a listen to what you can hear. And it really is very, very silent at the moment. All we can hear at the moment of the wind is the wind. And everybody, I found what it was. It wasn't Margaret Atwood. It was Kate Atkinson, A God in Ruins. There we are. And them is the great slices of sunshine. So almost no sound, just the rustling wind in the leaves. And a very fresh smell, obviously because it's winter, tainted with a bit of dust. That's because of the wind. But it is quite chilly, but very, very nice to have the sun's rays on our face. And D.A. No Name Hero, you're a new viewer and you say you're watching this for the first time and you say you think it's amazing. D.A. Hero, we think it's pretty amazing too, and it's great to have you with us. And thank you very much for taking the time to join us. It's really good to have you with us. And I hope that you will stay with us for some time to come. Stunning, stunning, stunning that we get to experience this every day of our lives. Beautiful sunsets and magnificent sunrises in the morning, Brian. That's when they happen, I think, isn't it?
I think so.
It is normally.
Sometimes.
Sometimes in the morning. Just beautiful. Right, I'm going to take one last rank average photograph and then we can go. I can't decide whether I should focus on the clouds or on the bushes, Brian. What do you think?
The clouds.
Okay, clouds it is.
And one on the bushes, just for safety.
I have done one of those.
Okay.
Thank you. Do you have my lens cover, Brian?
I do.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
As you were. Okay, everybody, we're going to make our way slowly towards the fireside chat and see what we can find there. Hopefully Jean-Dre and Brenty would have set up the fire. Be very nice. And I think it's going to get quite dark quite quickly. It certainly feels dark as soon as you turn away from the sun, because your eyes now, of course, are seeing spots all over the place. It feels like it's night time when you look away. On we go. I want to check that we have got enough time. I'm sure we do. Yes, we're okay. A God in Ruins, everyone. Kate Atkinson, excellent book, very depressing. Don't read it if you're feeling sad or anywhere close to some heavy medication. I think we're going to get an even better view of the sunrise at the top of the hill here. Brian, I can't see anything in front of us, can you?
Not really,
No. We're going to get a lovely shot of the sunrise from the west there. Sunset. I think I was the first one here to make that mistake. I've no doubt I won't be the last. James Richard, you say that after so many incredible sightings today, the bush spoils us yet again with an awe-inspiring sunset. Brian, you would describe that sunset as awe-inspiring and what else?
And savage.
And savage, exactly. Now, if you're wondering where that comes from, I think I may have told the story before, but Brian and I had to film an interview after we watched an incredible sighting of some wild dogs setting upon a hyena, and I can find myself going into the exact script that we went through. And every time I got into the swing of things, I'd say something like, I was astounded by the awe-inspiring savagery of the wilderness. And every time I got to that particular section of what I was saying, Brian would fall over himself laughing and we'd start again. Brian, how many takes did we do?
I think we did about 54.
54 takes, everyone. How many did we use? None. Not one.
They were just too savage.
They were too awe-inspiringly savage. All right, we're on the Beefleshoek cut line. It is quite chillsome here, I must say. We might just get one more view of the sun as it rises to the west there. There we go. And then we're going to disappear over the horizon, I think. I'm just stopping here because there is a vehicle in front of us and they might be in the lion sighting, so I just want to make sure. And while I make sure, of course, Brian, it is quite chilly, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Oh, look at those colours, everybody. A great layer cake of golden orange sun. That was mine, everyone. That's why it was pathetic. Was Margaret Atwood the Poisonwood Bible? No, she wasn't. I don't think I've ever read anything by Margaret Atwood. Why on earth I came up with her name, I couldn't tell you. Maybe I've seen it in my mother's bookshelf. Beautiful, wonderful, awe-inspiring, relatively savage. On we go. I have me bush jacket on. All right, we're going to go quite a lot faster to get to the, not the hyena den, to the, where are we going, Brian?
The fireside chat.
Fireside chat, that's right. Jamie is at the hyena den now.
Jamie is at the hyena den indeed, and all is quiet. There's no hyena around at the moment. I don't know, we can't be sure just yet if she's moved the cubs. There were tracks all over the show this morning, right outside the den site, so I'm doubtful. I think she's probably just gone to look for some food. Oh, and I suddenly feel a little bit like Rusty's tire that we just took off her right front. A quick drink of water. All right, let us continue onwards. No hyena here. Our confusion over whether James or myself would be coming here is relatively superfluous at this point. Let us head out. Oh, I definitely still smell hyena. They definitely smell like it's still occupied. There's a distinct scent to a hyena den. Combination of wet and somewhat dirty dog. We okay there, Dave? Sorry. There we go. Out we go. Wet dog and rotting meat. That doesn't sound very appealing, but it's something you get used to and almost associate with nice memories, because it's a smell that's associated with one of the most adorable baby animals. Just an update on the lion sighting. It has been closed by Ephraim, very wisely in my opinion, because at this point it's getting a little bit too dark, and as Ephraim said over the Game Drive channel, moms are going to go out to hunt and they're going to leave the little cubs alone. So they need a minimal amount of disturbance. But really, really exciting news. I don't know whether Ephraim's seen them, but it sounds like he has. He says he thinks there are now 6 little Nkuhuma cubs, not just 3. So we have some really incredibly exciting moments to look forward to. Sorry, everything's clanging in here. Just stay there. I've shifted everything around in my desperate search for the wheel spanner. Dave saved the day there. I don't know how he found it, but he did. Well done, Dave. Whew. And Angie in Ohio, I hope you enjoyed that incredible and dramatic moment as much as we did. Now, Angie, on the subject of our little cubs, she wants to know, will they keep them in the same den site when they go out to hunt? And it depends on their ages. And generally, as you know, lionesses move their den sites around, and usually when the cubs are newly born, the mother will actually she'll keep them separate even from another lioness with young cubs until they're, as we've said, right age. But once they're around that age, then yes, Angie, she will keep them in the same den site as the other females' cubs. So they will stay there, and they have different den sites that they will use depending on where they are. Let's just shift off the road here, make space for incoming cars. Oh goodness. Rusty has worked incredibly hard today. We spoke this morning about our vehicles braking and the hard use that we put them to. Rusty certainly proved herself today. How's it? How are you for? Sorry, it's all good. Hi guys. Yeah, not active. I've been waiting for a chance to call in, but look, people busy talking. Yeah, it's not active. Okay. Cheers, guys. Bye bye. Dad will den. Sorry, they will keep them in separate den sites until they reach a certain age, at which point they will keep them in the same den site together, and they'll move them around, and once they reach a certain age they'll accompany their mothers, and then they'll make an almost a hiding place rather than a den site where they will keep them while they go out and hunt. And they've obviously decided that the drainage line around Buffelshoek Dam, which is of course where we will be first thing tomorrow morning, and Ted Green, who is watching in Vermont and is Chelsea Green's father, Chelsea of course being our intern here. Ted, it's wonderful to have you watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Are you thinking along the lines of when we were watching that hunt, do the lions run the risk of being killed by buffalo, and if so, what is the risk? Yes, they absolutely do, and there's lots and lots of recorded cases of lions being killed either by being gored or by being kicked or injured in that way. They do risk their lives when they go in a hunt like that, particularly 3 females on their own. Having a male with that extra 200 plus pounds of weight that he has over the females is a tremendous advantage when it comes to hunting buffalo. Now, Ted, we recently lost one of the members of the male coalition, the Birmingham Boys, the males that are dominant in this area. We lost a male called Scrapper, And we think, we'll never know, but we suspect that it was an injury that he obtained whilst he was hunting, and most likely hunting buffalo or giraffe, because those are the two big animals capable of causing a lion serious injury. And it looked as though, from what happened to him afterwards, potentially massive internal damage, or potentially even a collapsed lung. So they do get injured, and an injury out here can mean death. Because unless, a broken leg or something like that, for the lions to not be able to hunt, their pride mates will look after them as much as possible. They will share food. They will allow them to join them at kills. But if they can't keep up, the pride cannot risk waiting for them constantly. So an injury out here is a very, very serious matter. And I think that's why those lions gave up. I think that's why they left. They realized they were onto no good. And then, of course, the fact that they overheat very, very quickly. And speaking of overheating, I'm doing the opposite, so bear with me one moment. I'm just going to go around the corner and then stop to pop my jacket on, because the temperature has just dropped as the sun dips below the horizon. Now let me try and untangle my jacket from the chaos that is here. Oopsie. Throwing game drive channels all over the place. Okay, thank you. Much better. Snug and warm once again. What was extraordinary to me about that sighting, not extraordinary, but really fascinating to see, was the males chasing the lions. That's an interesting idea. Now, one of our viewers has read an article about painting eyes on the back of cows. Now, this came from Peter. Painting eyes on the back of cows to potentially prevent the risk of lions attacking them. And do I think this works? I certainly think it would confuse them. I've heard stories. I remember as a child hearing stories and seeing pictures of human beings in... Sorry, turn this down a little bit. Hearing stories of people wearing masks on the back of their head in India to prevent tigers and other cats sneaking up and attacking them. That sticks out really clearly in my mind as a child, because I think it actually terrified me slightly, this idea. But do I think, we know that lots of animals have eyes, or fake eyes, owls, butterflies, meant to disturb predators. Do I think it will work for lions? My gut instinct says no. My gut instinct says perhaps it might confuse them once or twice, but I don't think it's going to deter them completely. I think that at some point they are going to learn that those eyes are of no threat whatsoever. It's a very interesting idea, but personally I don't think that it's going to work. I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. If you disagree, you're more than welcome to. You're welcome to let me know. Perhaps you know of places where this has been proven to work. I'm not convinced. I'm not 100% sure that that would act to deter a lion permanently. But there's some incredible research that goes on into predator and farmer avoidance strategies. Rather than having farmers furiously destroying the predators because they have attacked their livestock, there's all kind, and it doesn't actually just apply to predators. It applies to elephants raiding crops, and many of you will have seen that incredible article about chili bombs, essentially, being sent towards elephants to get, not bombs, just to clarify, it's not an actual explosive, but basically like the equivalent of a water balloon, but using a different stretchy substance in this case, but filling it with chili and throwing it at elephants to deter them. And we know chili's been used for centuries as a way of keeping elephants out. I've heard of experiments into putting loudspeakers up around orchards to try and prevent baboons from raiding them, fruit trees. Now they've tried different things. They've tried playing baboon calls, territorial calls, warning calls, alarm calls, lion roars, leopard roars, all kinds of amazing techniques that really clever people, ideas that they've come up with, and not all of them work. But I think the most important thing is to have a government that provides just payment for whenever a predator kills some kind of livestock, rather than almost as a reward to say to the farmer, we will repay you, but please don't kill the predators. And slowly but surely, attitudes towards predators are changing, which is a marvelous thing to see. And you can't blame desperate people for whom farming is their absolute livelihood and the livelihood of their families. It's not, the situations, conservation situations out here are never as simple as they might seem to us from a very comfortable perspective that we have. I really enjoy hearing those different ideas. The beehives and the elephants, that was something that the viewers taught me about when I first started working here, doing these live safaris, putting beehives up because elephants don't like the sound of bees. Really wonderful. Clever, clever ideas, and there's always room for improvement and ideas that will help in the conservation and the prevention of farmer-wildlife conflict. And that applies, I guess it doesn't just apply to Africa, although that's obviously where my area of interest and knowledge lies, but it applies across the world. I know there was a big thing about the reintroduction of wolves into Scotland, and the fear about the impact that they would have on the farming communities in that area. And there are some marvelously clever people. Just on a different tack, but a similar one entirely, Andrew in the Ukraine would like to know if it's safe to travel throughout Africa on a bicycle. And Andrew, I have a friend who did that. He did that very thing. He cycled throughout Africa as a way of, he was working for a water resource company, or a water conservation NGO, to raise awareness for water conservation, to raise funding for it. And he rode all the way throughout Africa, and he was absolutely fine. And he wrote some incredible articles about it. I'd have to double check where you can find those. I'll have a chat with him and see if I can't get hold of them for you and actually share them with all of our viewers, because I think some of you would find it absolutely fascinating. But my friend Alex did do that, and he found it incredible. At no point did he say he felt enormously threatened. Andrew, would I do it personally? I don't think so, depending on the situation, but it's unfortunately within Africa there's risks that are there. There's conflict situations. Central Africa is a terrifying place at times, but that's said from a perspective of someone who's never been there. I've just heard stories. And then of course there's all kinds of terrifying things that happen in Sudan and Somalia and so on. But would I do it personally? No, I think I'd be a little bit too scared. And then I hate to say it, but I'm also, as a woman traveling throughout Africa, it also adds an extra, oh, our door's open. Well, you know, there's risk everywhere. I could have gone tumbling out. Probably not, though. It's on the other side. But Andrew, if it is something that you're interested in doing, you are welcome to drop the final control and email, the questions@wildearth.tv. They will then forward that on to me, and I will, if you want any further details about it, I will see if I can get hold of my friend and see if he would be able to give you any further information, if that's something that you're interested in doing. Because I think that would be incredible to do. I would love to do it. I would love to be brave enough to do it. Would you do it, Dave?
I think I would.
Dave says he thinks he would. I'm tempted to say I would do it, but I'm not sure. There are so many wonderful places in Africa that I would love to go and visit, and the world. But to get to go, for example, to Ethiopia and see the rare red wolf, one of the most endangered canids in the world. Oh, there's just so many marvelous creatures to see. Oh, what we're doing at the moment, the spotlight in my hand, this is for our new viewers, and of course new viewers jump on board each and every single day. We have somebody new joining us. So what we're doing at the moment is we're using a spotlight to pick up on... Oh, it's Impala. Sorry Dave. False alarm, at least it wasn't a lion log. To pick up on the reflection of an animal's eyes. Now what we don't do is shine a spotlight on or a light on diurnal animals for a prolonged period of time, because what that does is it's like if I turned around and shone this in your face or in poor Dave's eyes, you'd be blinking bright spots away and struggling to rectify your vision. And it does the same thing to our diurnal animals, so a brief pass of the spotlight over them is fine, but prolonged exposure immediately puts them at risk of predation. And of course this is the most dangerous time of the day for the animals. Cheetah are still hunting on a day like today. Wild dogs are still hunting at a time like now, but the lions are also active. We've just seen those hunting lionesses. And those lionesses, the Nkuhumas, are going to be hunting full force this evening. Having had a look at them today, those brief moments that we could see them properly, I mean it was so quick and so much amazing stuff going on. But they were hungry, and we've actually now been saying that for a considerable period of time. We were here with Brent, and we switched with him 2 or 3 days ago now, where he was with Amber Eyes and the Birmingham boy, and we were saying how hungry they looked, and it doesn't look like they've had a meal yet, or if they have, it has not been a substantial one. At this point they've gone at least, when was that buffalo kill? Must have been about a week. It must be more than a week. No, it was a Saturday. Yes, it was. It's a week ago. It's just over a week ago since the last time that we know that they ate. They might have had something in between, but if they did, it's nothing big, because there's some very empty bellies from the Nkuhuma pride. So they are going to be hunting tonight, and tomorrow on the sunrise safari we will be heading straight to that area to see whether they have had any success at some point in the evening. I wonder what happened to that male lion from this morning. That's what I would like to know. I'm surprised he wasn't following behind those females. I think he was initially when we lost him. While we travel along looking for our mysterious nocturnal beasties, Mike, yes, I have seen a bat-eared fox. As I said, I used to work in the Kalahari, where you find them in not huge numbers, but you often see them. It's not an animal that we see here. If we found a bat-eared fox here, it would be very, very lost, very confused. But absolutely, I have seen a bat-eared fox. They are one of my favorite little animals to see. You used to see them every evening driving home. They would come and they'd run out in the middle of the road. So a bat-eared fox is an animal, and as its name suggests, it has the most enormous ears, totally disproportionate to the rest of its body, almost like a fennec fox. And they are insectivorous little creatures that live in these little family groups, and they pop out into the road and they run forward and they look back at you with these bright, curious eyes. Definitely an animal that I would love to be able to share with you. And who knows, the more people we get on board, the more opportunities there may be, not to give too much away, but the more opportunities there may be to see things like the magical bat-eared foxes, or a Cape fox, or a spring hare. There's lots and lots of different creatures in South Africa that I would love to be able to share with you all. Now we're coming slowly to the end of our sunset drive portion of this afternoon's sunset safari, and Dave and myself are slowly but carefully meandering our way towards fireside chat, where we will be discussing, in no specific order, lion cubs. We could have guessed that. And then we will be talking a little bit about the... What are we talking about again? I've forgotten. The Ellie. And what was the other thing? Oh, for goodness sake. That was it. I'm sorry. The lion hunt has totally removed all thoughts from my brain. We will be talking about that incredible sighting that Brent had on Cheetah Plains with Shrimbambalana and the quarantine male, both sons of a different generation of Karula, the Queen of Juma. Those are the topics that we will be conversing about on this evening's fireside chat. And thank goodness the wind appears to have stopped blowing, so you won't get to see us weeping our way through it as the smoke blows into our eyes. And I'm imagining that the setup is going on frantically at present, while we slowly meander our way up towards quarantine. That's a very good point from Love 3 Dogs. You know what, I was thinking about the question about riding through Africa. I was thinking about it in terms of safety from human beings. That was where my mind went to. But just so you know, I would definitely be very, very careful of riding a bicycle through a wilderness area. I wouldn't drive through this game reserve on a bicycle, I have to tell you. I would be genuinely very nervous, having heard stories of lions attacking people on motorbikes. And elephants don't particularly like people on bicycles as well. So Love 3 Dogs is absolutely right by pointing out that there's a video of cyclists being chased by ostriches. I'm laughing, it must have been genuinely terrifying for them. But yes, there is a video of cyclists being chased by ostriches. There's that video of a cyclist being knocked off his bike by a hartebeest, a relative of the wildebeest, as it leaps over his head and knocks him. He was fine, but I imagine very shaken and a little bit uncomfortable after that. But riding a bicycle through the game reserves of Africa, absolutely not. No, thank you. I know people do it. Definitely not. It's one thing to go walking through the bush when you're in control, you're listening, you're watching what's happening, but when you're speeding past, you are basically like fast food to a lion because you've lost that threatening bipedal human form. I've also heard stories of elephants being infuriated by the clicking sound of bicycles. So no, please don't go riding a bicycle through the African bush if there's Big Five around. I've even heard of cheetah, and cheetah are one of the most innocuous of the big cats, chasing people on bicycles. A lovely question from Kathy in North Carolina. Do the other guides and other reserves watch safari live? Kathy, I know that certainly some of them have watched the clips before. I'm trying to think, I don't know of any guides that watch regularly, and I'll tell you why, because chances are the internet out here in the African bush doesn't always tend to be able to cope with the demands of a live stream safari. I'm not aware of too many guides that watch the live safaris, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if there are some out there. I think it would be a wonderful way of keeping up with the comings and goings of the different animals, and guides in this area perhaps being able to use it as a way of keeping track of the characters that they've also become familiar with, the leopards and the lions. Maybe if they were to leave this area and go and work elsewhere, a way of keeping track. The frantic preparation for fireside chat is underway. Here they are silhouetted against the sky, busy sorting things out, getting ready. We will be joining them very, very shortly. So I hope you're all ready and excited for the time that is ahead. I'm going to say farewell for now and a big thank you to Dave. We're going to head to fireside chat. We'll see you there. Enjoy.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Fireside Chat, this the 3854th edition thereof. We are of course engaging in the age-old wilderness tradition of sitting around the fire and telling tall stories, and of course on my left no greater tall storyteller in the world, or taller storyteller in the world than Brent Leo Smith. Hello Brent.
Hello James, hello everyone.
Brent, what have you achieved this afternoon while we have been slaving away, risking our lives?
I managed to watch half of the first set of the Wimbledon men's final.
The Wimbledon men's final.
Yes.
And not going according to plan, of course, because nobody I was supporting is in the final, in fact, so who cares who wins. Now, we have got some interesting things to show you today. Mostly we've got cubs, or an overload of cuteness, where Brent and I embarrass ourselves, as you will see shortly. Then we're going to have a look at some leopards, and then some elephants. But let's go straight in with the overload of cuteness, the lion cubs of the Nkuhumas.
Hello, everybody. On our live safari, I would like to introduce you to 3 identical little lion cubs and their mom. Our new members of the Nkuhuma Pride. They've been hiding out on Torchwood. We've been patiently waiting for them to appear. And there you go. The first proper sighting of the Nkuhuma cubs after months and months of the sort of chaos in the lion dynamics and watching the tragedies of the Nkuhuma Pride unfold. To see these 3 little faces staring across at us, well, it just doesn't get better than this, does it, Brian?
Nope.
And I'm so glad that we could share this moment with all of you. The smallest obstacles seem pretty large when you're only 5 weeks old. Look at how spotted they still are. Whoops! I'm sorry, I'm doing that thing I do when I see young cubs where I forget how to talk and I just giggle incoherently.
Not sure what happened there, everybody, but here we are, and to my starboard side, Jamie, the lion hunting, cubbing, finding person thing. Would you like to go through your emotions when you first saw those cubs, and try not to giggle like Brent and I did?
It's a struggle. There's just something about that moment that renders us all completely incoherent, and it's not just me, but we all 3 of us did it.
In fact,
we just couldn't. We really genuinely couldn't contain ourselves in that excitement, and I think it's the emotional investment that we've had in this pride, watching from start to finish, in a way, this chapter of their lives. To see them in that moment was incredible.
And Brent, you seem to indicate today that you thought the debate was finally completed over what was cuter.
Oh yes, no, it's definitely. It's the delectable little monsters.
It is, the delectable monsters. I
Yes.
never thought I'd hear that come out of Brent Leo Smith's mouth. I'm sure Jamie didn't either.
No, that
and I'm
comes
sure
as a
she's
shock.
probably hoping not to again. But we've been banging on about the fact that I've said it a few times, that I thought lion cubs were, if possible, even cuter than leopard cubs, and I'm sure you can see what we mean there. Of course, I now feel utterly disrespectful to George and Charlotte. You can see Brent recoiling visibly as I said those names. Ha 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 ha. And I thank you all for using them so liberally in his
Stop it
presence.
now,
Thank you very
please.
much.
There's going
And
to
of
be
course,
mass confusion.
we are going to name those the lion cubs as well, aren't we?
We are?
Yes, we are. They're going to be called Kirsten, Jerry, and Louise.
Well, I was going to go with Lion 1, 2, and 3 myself.
Yeah, no, but Kirsten, Jerry, and Louise are much better, and because Jerry is a kind of generic name, could be Gerald or Geraldine. If there's a male, then he will be...
I think
All 3 of them are going to
we
turn out
turn
to be males.
boys, so
just
that will be the best.
Anyway, we'll see what happens there. No doubt there'll be much conflict. Okay, so that was the lion cubs, the cuteness overload, those spotty little delectable wonders, as Brent sort of puts it. Let's go across now to an even better sighting, I think, just not from a cuteness point of view, but from an interest point of view. 2 male leopards establishing themselves in the world. Have a look at this.
This is more than a nice surprise. This is behavior you don't see often. Now, that is quarantine. And if you listen really carefully, you can hear a low growl. Now, that is quarantine. And about 40 meters away is Tingana. And they are growling at each other. I'm not sure that's Tingana. But I'm just going to have it. I think this could be Shivambalan. I've never seen this leopard before. There he comes. Oh, now this is going to be interesting. Now, this is going to be very interesting. How is Quarantine going to react? Is he going to stand up to the challenge, or is he going to skedaddle? Look at that. Oh, Mr. Q is taking his cue. But he's trying not to move too fast. He's like, I'm not actually moving away from you. I just felt like getting up.
So that was really, really fascinating. And it's not often you see males of that age compete like that. I've seen lots of older males, sort of 8, 9 years old in those sort of tussles. I just couldn't believe the sort of audacity of Quarantine. I mean, to completely ignore a physically much larger leopard from that close distance.
Now, I mean, the question on everyone's lips, and I'm going to pass it over to Jamie because I don't know the answer, is do they have some kind of kin recognition, or is it completely, could they be strangers?
What's the age difference between Quarantine and Kunumas? 2 years?
No,
It's
2.5
3 years.
Shimvalana.
Sorry, Shimvalana and Quarantine.
It's 2.5 years.
2.5 years, yes, I think there might be. Especially given the... Well, I'll tell you why I say that. Because of the level that the males don't gain independence straight away. So they often leave and come back to their mothers. Mm-hmm. And I think that they probably... Shimvalana probably would have encountered Quarantine and Kunuma at a young age, just moving back towards mom. Brent's going to disagree. I don't know. I don't really know the answer. That's just my feeling on it.
I'll tell you why Brent's going to disagree once he's disagreed. Okay, go for it.
No, I think you should go first. Because otherwise you're going to claim to be right either way.
No, I'm not. I have no idea. What do you think?
I don't know. There was some fresh scarring on their faces. Mm-hmm. And I think that had been going on a lot longer than we were there. And
so you think they had physical contact?
I think so. There was a fresh cut under Shivambalan's eye that was from that day, and Quarantine also had some relatively fresh scars, which I only saw afterwards when we looked at the clips and when I looked back at the footage. And I don't know, Shivambalan was reasonably upset, but Quarantine's a big 4-year-old male leopard. So I don't know.
I don't know either. I often like to think that there is this kind of emotional attachment, as many of you do, but it's great to have the old cynic here because it keeps us all in balance. Otherwise, we'd be convinced that they were about to have a tea party together. Anyway, wonderful sighting, fascinating, and it'll be great to see what happens going forward from there. And also, I mean, Shivambalan could well be taking Mvula's territory, most likely, in fact. Okay, we're going to move on to a really quite violent PG moment with the elephants that Jamie had this morning. Have a look here.
Now, for me, as much as I love our big cats and our graceful leopards, our magnificent lions, so, those of you who have always wondered about the vocalizations of other elephants and have heard those sorts of sounds before, and we've often spoken about, oh shame, the little one's actually a bit concerned. It's all right, Benjamin. It'll be fine.
Well, I didn't have that particular interaction, but we did see young Benjamin this morning, and at least this afternoon. Wonderful sighting that Brian and I had. Looks like he's had those hair plugs put into the top of his head, don't you think?
He's the most amazing-looking baby elephant I think I've ever seen.
And amazing not in terms of his good looks.
No, I wouldn't describe him as a good... He's very cute.
Yes.
But Benjamin Button, I think, describes him perfectly. It is a very well-chosen name by Aqua. Now, what we did want to talk about, sorry.
Dogs barking, very odd, don't know what's going on.
That wasn't what I was expecting, but neither was that attack by the female elephant. It took me completely by surprise. My thoughts, I was on my way to answering a question about whether or not elephants are sentient, at which point she then turned around and pinned the young bull to the ground, which I said, initially I thought it was a cow just because it happened so fast, but looking back it is a bull. And I have no idea what provoked it, because he wasn't on top of her or the baby. The baby was on the other side of her. I think it happens a lot.
For me, there are two questions there. For me, the first question is there some kind of discussion going on between them whether we're not aware of? And even Cynic here is nodding, so it must be true. And secondly, were they related? Why did that youngster then follow the bashed up bull again? Why did he follow him? What do you think?
Maybe you wanted him to get another hiding.
Blaming him.
Yes. No, I don't know. It's very interesting. And I think, we hear those type of sounds all night and all over the place. And I've seen often female elephants hit those young bulls, but I've never, I think that where the road was and just he happened to trip, maybe that's why she got on top of him. But I definitely think there was communication we can't hear. They have so many low rumbles that are far beyond what we can hear.
Yeah.
Maybe he cheeked her.
How old do you think?
No, he was cheeky.
Quite possibly. Yeah.
Really, I think maybe she told him, and this is actually a theory that one of the viewers put forward, maybe she told him to go away, and he didn't.
Yeah. How old do you think he was? How old do you think that bull was? Pajamas?
I'm sorry, I'm derailed. I don't, maybe 8 or 9?
8 or 9. So, he's not about to leave the herd.
No, not anywhere near that.
Okay.
Yeah. No, he was quite young still.
Marvellous.
It was incredible, really fascinating.
Yeah, really good to see, and like Brent says, we hear that stuff all the time. I'm going to attempt to play a song now that doesn't sound like that. And it's a song that's not related to Africa at all. It's not related to anything we do here, really. It's just a really good song.
My favourite, I think, of all three of us.
Yes, and so I'm going to play it. And of course, I first heard it played on a 12-string guitar. It is, of course, by the great David Gilmour and his, some would say equally great colleague Roger Waters. I would say slightly less great. But here we go. This is a song called Wish You Were Here. And we will see you tomorrow during the course of the Dawn Safari at 06:30, when hopefully this vile cloud would have moved off to make way for another beautiful, clear winter's sky. So until then, goodbye. Feel free to sing along, Brent. Jamie sang when I did the last one. She has a beautiful voice.
I don't.
I've been led to believe that you don't. Yes. So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pale? Can you tell a green field or cold steel rail? Smile from the veil. Do you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade your heroes for ghosts, hot ashes for dreams, hot air for a cool breeze, cold comfort for change? Did you exchange a walk-on part of the wall for lead road in a cave?
with you.